The deep-rooted anti-Semitic ideology of Hamas. The ideology of Hamas is steeped in anti-Semitic rhetoric, with its charter unashamedly endorsing infamous anti-Jewish texts such as the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Despite the document being thoroughly discredited, it remains a cornerstone of Hamas's hostility, fueling a pervasive distrust and antipathy toward Jewish individuals and communities globally. This not only contributes to regional instability, but also sanctions the aggressive group's stance towards Israel, legitimizing aggression in the name of combating a fabricated Jewish conspiracy. Intransigent refusal to accept Israel's existence, the intractable position of Hamas, which refuses to recognize the State of Israel, is a significant barrier to peace in the region. By rejecting the international consensus on a two-state solution, Hamas not only negates the possibility of peaceful coexistence, but also isolates itself from the global community that seeks a diplomatic resolution to the conflict. This refusal undermines efforts to achieve reconciliation and thwarts the aspirations of both Palestinians and Israelis who long for peace. A long-standing record of rejecting peace proposals. Throughout the decades, Israel has made numerous attempts to establish peace, proposing to withdraw from contested territories and offering to share the culturally and religiously significant city of Jerusalem. These gestures, indicative of Israel's commitment to peace, have been met with a consistent pattern of rejection by Hamas. The group's refusal to engage with peace initiatives suggests a preference for perpetual conflict over the compromises necessary for peace. Allegations of misappropriation of Gaza's assets by Hamas. Accusations levied against Hamas claim a gross misallocation of the Gaza Strip's resources. Funds that could transform the lives of Palestinian citizens through improved infrastructure, healthcare, and education are alleged to be diverted to bolster Hamas's military capabilities and line the pockets of its leaders. Such misappropriation highlights the organization's prioritization of military investment over the humanitarian and developmental needs of its people. The deliberate adoption of terrorist tactics by Hamas, internationally recognized as a terrorist organization, Hamas's strategy is marked by the use of terror to achieve its objectives. Targeting civilian populations contradicts the most basic principles of international law and human rights. This tactic has not only resulted in the loss of innocent lives, but also perpetuates a cycle of violence and retribution that makes the prospect of peace more remote. Israel's right to self-defense. In the face of these provocations and threats, Israel's right to defend itself is not only a matter of national security, but also a fundamental right enshrined in international law. The persistent attacks on Israeli soil by Hamas necessitate a response to protect its citizens. A nation's primary obligation is the safety and security of its people, and Israel's defensive actions against Hamas are a legitimate exercise of this responsibility. International support for Israel's defense. Israel's right to self-defense is supported by numerous allies and is affirmed by international entities that recognize the necessity of taking action against terrorist threats. The principles of sovereignty and self-defense are critical tenets of the United Nations Charter, which provides a legal framework for countries to protect their citizens. The impact of terrorism on Israeli society. Terrorism inflicts profound psychological and physical harm on society. The Israeli populace lives with the constant threat of rocket attacks and other forms of terrorism that disrupt daily life and sow fear. The social and economic toll of these acts cannot be overstated, as they affect not only the direct victims but also the broader fabric of Israeli society. In conclusion, Israel's stance is not an aggressive one, but rather a stance of survival and defense against an organization that espouses extremist views, engages in terrorist activities, and consistently rejects peaceful solutions. The right to defend its citizens is paramount. Until Hamas abandons its violent methods and ideologies, Israel's defensive measures remain not only justified but necessary for the protection of its people and the pursuit of peace.